This is the Patriots Drive Podcast.
We are all Patriots.
Where we discuss, analyze, and answer questions to all things happening in the NFL and with our New England Patriots. Now, here's your host, Cole Kelly.
Let's go!
Welcome into another edition of the Patriots Drive Podcast. We got a big one this weekend. Fighting for the AFC East division title, Pats and the Bills. The Bills are 8-6. Pats are 9-5. Bills won last week against the Panthers. We lost last week, obviously, against the Colts, as everybody knows. So it's gonna be a big game. Patriots have an opportunity to clinch the AFC East if we beat the Bills, obviously, and then if the Dolphins lose to the Saints on Monday Night Football. So it's an opportunity to win the division this week, which is crazy to say, and it could swing the other way very quickly if this football game isn't won by us. The Bills would hold the tiebreaker. They'd be first in the AFC East and second place overall in the AFC, and we'd probably drop down to fifth or sixth, and it's a slippery slope from there. There's a lot of teams at the bottom of that, a lot of teams in contention with similar records, so it's going to depend on tiebreakers and all that stuff. We have Jacksonville, then Miami after that. Miami's no cakewalk. We all know that. We all know what can happen at the end of the year in Miami, so especially playing in Miami. So this is kind of a must-win game. If you want to solidify your playoff chances, solidify this division, win this game, that'll create 2 games of separation between us and the Bills, and that'll kind of seal it. So it's a big one this weekend. But I'm with my co-host Chase Campbell. How's it going, Chase?
It's going good. I'm excited because if you were to tell me or any other Patriots fans after week 6 when we were 2-4 that, hey, don't worry, week 16 you'll have a chance to, or what? This will be week 15. No, this is week 16 because there's 18 weeks now. Yeah, if you were to say, oh, hey, week 15 you have a chance to, or week 16 you have a chance to go out and win the AFC East against Buffalo on your home field, I'd be like, are you for real? Like, are you sure? So I'm excited. This is in Gillette Stadium. This is everything we want. The Bills are going to want revenge. We're going to want to, continue to show them that we run the AFC East still and that this is our division and they got to come into our place and take it from us. So I'm nervous. You said it. You're going to be nervous all game, and I know I will too, and a lot of Patriots fans will be, but I'm excited to see how this team comes out and plays and, responds after a pretty I wouldn't call it devastating loss, but kind of a dominant loss to the Colts team where they first half was horrendous. Second half, they showed some heart. We'll see how they come back. So I'm excited.
Yeah, me as well. Pat Scout. Don't miss this one. This one's a good one. Pat's Bills, obviously. Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a game. I mean, it's going to be a nail biter the entire way through. I'm like I just mentioned to you earlier off stream. I don't know how this game is a 1:00 game. I don't know how they didn't flex it with an opportunity to. That's kind of crazy to me. Best game of the weekend should have been Saturday night, a Sunday night, something. It should have been at least a 4:25, 4:05 window because this is a game that everybody should have their eyes on. AFC East in general, AFC Conference in general, because this could flip the standings dramatically. Hopefully it doesn't, because that means if we win this football game, we're going to stay in second or have an opportunity to maybe go to first, depending on how the Chiefs and Steelers game goes. But it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a nail biter. It's going to be a heck of a game. Battle on both sides. Both teams are pissed off. The Patriots, I can tell you, are extremely pissed off by what happened last week. It was hopefully a great wake-up call. Hopefully they get their crap together and turn it around for this game and clean up all those mistakes, because if you make half the mistakes we made against Indy, against this Buffalo team, we're losing. And that's just a fact, in my opinion. Buffalo is pissed off because they heard a lot of crap after that Patriots game. Oh, you guys are soft. You got ran all over. Are you embarrassed? This and this. You can't stop the run. And they don't want to hear that. They hear all the talk about the Bills being a disappointment and not being the division leaders, not being the best team in the AFC, and they don't want to hear that anymore. So both teams are extremely motivated. Both teams have a lot to play for, a lot to fight for, and it's going to be a battle at Gillette Stadium. It's supposed to be good weather, so that's not really going to play a factor, which, I mean, bad weather probably helps us like it did that last game, but it's going to be good weather. No excuses this time. The offense is going to be opened up for the Patriots and the Bills, and it's a must win for both teams. If the Bills lose this game, they might not make the playoffs, and that's kind of shocking to say, just because of all the tiebreakers. There's a lot of good teams, like I just mentioned, in that range of 7, 8 wins. So they're going to have to. This is kind of a must win for the Bills. It's kind of a must win for the Patriots as well. Both teams need this win badly, and we can't. If we lose this game, we can't catch back up to the Bills, because They have the Jets and the Falcons. They're not losing either of those football games. So it's basically both teams control their own destiny. If the Bills win tonight, they probably win the AFC East. If we win tonight, not tonight, if we win Sunday, we basically win the AFC East. So huge game, huge game. And I mean, I can't wait for it.
Yeah, and you heard Sean McDermott say it after the game, after the Carolina game. He said, "You know who we're playing this week. Like, we know what's on the table." And I guarantee since week 13, before our bye week, and after, all the questions and everything surrounding the Bills, like, this team has heard it. They're ready. They've been marking this game on their calendar, circling it. They get to come up to New England. They get a chance to get back in the AFC East driver's seat on our home field, kind of get revenge against us. So, yeah, this team's going to be ready. But I think New England's going to be ready. I saw a report today where Damien Harris, first rep back at practice, screams at Mac Jones. Like, there's excitement. And Mac Jones talked about it too, where there was a little bit of a lull in practice and last week, and they kind of felt different than other weeks, and you can't have that this week. And I don't think that New England will. They're going to come out. They're going to be ready for this game. It's the biggest game that they've played, that New England's played in maybe 2 years, post Brady era, for sure. You have a chance to win the AFC East for the first time without Tom Brady. You're having it in your stadium. It's the day after Christmas. Like, there's just so many circumstances where this game is set up for New England to come out and win and get a top 4 seed and not have to deal with that whole wild card situation. Like you mentioned, that's a mess at the bottom. You're seeing, any team in the AFC North, Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, any of those teams on any given Sunday, if they lose, they can either, or if win or lose, they can be the division leader, or they could be, third in the wild card. They could even be out of the playoffs. So you don't want to get down there, even though we beat some of those wild card teams, the Chargers, the Browns, seems like that. You just don't want to get down there. You want to control your own destiny, continue to win at home after starting off a rough patch at home, and just take care of business while you can, because you don't want to leave it in the fate of other people. Say, oh, well, we need them and them to lose for us to win the AFC East, or we need them to lose for us to get the 5 seed as a wild card. Just take care of business on your home field. Do your job, like Bill always says, and you're in control of your own destiny for the rest of the year until the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the kind of scary part about this is if you lose this game to the Bills, that drops us to 9-6. If the Dolphins beat the Saints, that brings them up to 8-7. We play them in a couple weeks. There's no guarantee that Miami doesn't still slip in over us, even if we mess this up. So the biggest thing in my mind is don't let that loss last week, that terrible loss, don't let that spiral. Don't let it snowball. Don't let it continue into this week. Wipe it. I mean, you hear them say it all the time. Wipe it and move on. We're flipping the page. It's the next game. None of that matters. We looked at the film. We're on to the Bills. We're on to Buffalo. So one thing I did want to mention here, no Beasley makes a great impact. He's a player that goes off against the Pats. That is huge. Beasley being out this game is big. I think especially when the Patriots put attention on Stephon Diggs, I think Cole Beasley is one of those guys that Josh Allen can trust in these underneath routes a lot in the slot. He'd be, if we play man coverage, Miles Bryant and Cole Beasley is not a good matchup in my eyes. I don't love seeing that. So I think Cole Beasley being out is going to open up our ability to play man coverage a little bit more. So I think it's going to make our defense a little more versatile this game, because we're not going to have to worry about him as much. It's also, it stinks. COVID's on both sides. I mean, nobody likes it. I just don't want COVID to end up ruining this game. Kendrick Bourne currently on the COVID list, along with 3 other Patriots. Matthew Slater reportedly tested positive for COVID, and that might be announced tomorrow. It's not official, but I've seen that from a couple sources so far. That stinks. He's probably out because the game's in 3-4 days, and he'd have to clear protocols extremely quickly. That stinks. So it's going to be affecting both teams either way. One thing for the Bills, Emmanuel Sanders has been limited in practice, was limited in practice today, so he might be back this week. It's tough. Injuries and COVID are affecting both teams, and it's an impact. It stinks right now. Another big impact is just the protocols. Like, guys can't eat lunch together in the lunchroom. That was one of the biggest things that they talked about, why this team was so close. And that's probably why the team wasn't as close last year, is because you couldn't do all these things. And those protocols are kind of being put back in, but it's probably for the best. The COVID's going around every locker room. It's flying everywhere. So got to be careful, but hopefully from here on out doesn't affect either team, because you hate to see that. You hate to see a game that's of this magnitude and that's this exciting be ruined by a virus that you can't really control. And that would really stink. But this is all we could ask for. I mean, obviously, I don't want the Bills to be a good football team, but what is better than NFL football in late December, right after Christmas, for the division? It's kind of a winner take all game. This is going to be a playoff atmosphere. This is basically going to be a playoff game because winner of this decides their fate and gets a lot better seeding than the other person. So this game is huge. It's absolutely massive. I'm excited for our run D this game after those Bucks Cowboys games. Great receivers. Pat's D got much better. Finally, the Pats faced a real healthy running back. So I'm not worried about our run defense this game just because outside of Josh Allen. I'm a little bit worried about Josh Allen's legs. But yeah, our run defense doesn't really concern me this game. That was Jonathan Taylor. They don't have a Jonathan Taylor. Their passing offenses, their offense runs through their passing game. So it's going to be a fun one though. It's an absolutely huge game and the biggest game of the year so far for sure.
Yeah, and you talk about our rushing defense. Buffalo doesn't even want to run the ball. They're averaging. Let's see. Sorry, I had this pulled up and then I switched it off. They're averaging 25 rushing attempts per game. That's bottom. What is that? Bottom 10 in the league. I'm looking at a reversed list, so I got to do some quick math. But like you said, and in the last 3, they're averaging 23 rushing attempts per game. They want to pass the ball first, and when you're playing New England, and our strength has been our secondary in the last couple of years, you got J.C. Jackson, Adrian Phillips, Kyle Duggar, guys like that. Like, you want this team to pass the ball, and I think that if you don't stop the run, that's where it gets scary because this team will set up play action passes and they'll let Josh Allen scramble, and your linebackers are going to have to suck up. So if we can take care of the running game like we have outside of Indianapolis, outside of a couple other games that you think back on where Tennessee, then yeah, I'm going to take New England secondary against Josh Allen passing the ball, even though they're great. Stephon Diggs, great receiver. Josh Allen, great quarterback. The loss to Cole Beasley is going to hurt too. I think I heard Emmanuel Sanders probably isn't going to play either. But Dawson, really? I think I heard maybe I'm hearing something else. I think he was.
I did hear that too. I watched Evan Lazar was on a Bills podcast last night. I watched a little bit when he was on there, and the Bills fans didn't seem like they were hopeful that he was going to play. They thought he was out, but I just saw today he was limited on their practice report. So that's interesting. That's kind of a question mark, I guess. Limited participation with a knee injury.
Yeah, so, and that's something to monitor, right? Like if you're missing him and Cole Beasley, and you look at New England's receivers that they're possibly missing, like it evens out the field where you're missing 2 veteran guys that can go up and make plays and can get open and create separation from dudes. So, I mean, depending on what's going on with the COVID situation, the injury report, like this game can look totally different. And I'm going to say now, I don't think New England runs the ball 46 times and only throws it 3 times. I think this is a totally different game now. And Bill said it. Someone asked him about the next Buffalo game after the first one. He said, they don't know any of our pass plays. Like, we didn't show them anything. I mean, they showed them a little rollout with Mac Jones. They showed him a deep over with Jonnu Smith, who made a great catch, and then a little pass. Comeback. Yeah, a screen and a comeback. Like, they showed him 3 or 4 different route concepts throughout the whole game, and like they don't know any of the passing game. So, I mean, it would not surprise me, and I don't think that Bill's going to do this, but how petty would it be of Bill if he comes out and he only runs it 3 times? Just freaking says, Mac Jones, you're going to throw it now. We're going to embarrass these guys this way now. But I don't think
he will. Throwing at 3. We can beat you running at 3.
I don't think he's going to do it. But what I'm saying is, like, I think that our defense, sorry, I'm kind of veering off of our defense, but I think that our defensive run game is going to be well enough to stop them, and we're going to make them beat us in the pass game. And I don't know any Pats fan that should be worried about that. And then on the flip side of things, if they stop our running game, which I don't expect us to have quite the success that we had and continue to pound it. I hope that we do, but you can't have that every game. If they are selling out to stop the run because they're damn determined to, be like, we're not going to let them do what they did to us in Buffalo, then you're going to have to rely on Mac Jones. And I think we saw in the second half that he's capable of doing that. And you're not going to be in opponent's stadium. You're going to be in your own. It's going to be quiet. It's going to be easy to make checks. You're going to be able to make reads. Everyone's going to be behind you. I just don't see that this game being sloppy like we saw in the first half of Indianapolis.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I hope we don't have to watch a game like that for a little while. One thing that concerns me about the Bills offense is Josh Allen's legs, and we'll touch on that later, but he had 109 rushing yards. 109 rushing yards against the Bucs. They are a very stout run defense. that basically, and then that was also due a little bit to the Bucs being up so much and playing soft coverage and Josh Allen escaping, but he's a problem with his legs. They don't want him to run that much because you saw him in a walking boot after that game for a reason. I mean, he got hit quite a bit because he was running the ball all over the place. But this is one of those games where it's all or nothing. You win this game or you don't win the AFC East. So I think they'll be willing to let him do it with his legs, do it with his arm, do it with whatever he needs. So it's going to be however they can win. That's what they're going to try to do. Allen, aka Lamar Jackson. He's a tough guy to take down. He's obviously not nearly as shifty, but he's like subtle shifty where he's so big that he makes a like slight movement, slight juke, and it's like I don't know. He's shifty for a big guy, and he's hard to take down. If it's 1-on-1 for the first down marker, he's going to drop his shoulder and try to truck you. And if you're small, he'll probably truck you. One big factor that we haven't really talked about yet in this game is that Kyle Duggar's going to be back. That's huge. Not only for like a QB spy, maybe for Josh Allen, but him back in the run game, him covering tight ends, blitzing off the edge, whatever he needs to do. He's a big factor in what this team does well. He makes a lot of tackles. And his coverage for tight ends has been a lot better this year than in the past. I think we probably will keep AP on Dawson Knox just because he had so much success last game. Even though Knox dropped the ball a few times and he did have some open plays, AP made a few really good plays against him. So we're going to have Duggar back. Hopefully no more COVID. Nothing else with COVID gets anybody else out. As of right now, though, for the most part on our defense, we're looking like we're not going to be missing anybody major, and that's good. My concern is the offense. It's just if we're missing Nelson Aguilar, the guy who threatens the defense and takes the top of the defense and really opens things up. He opens things up so much for our tight ends and our intermediate routes like Kendrick Bourne and Jacoby Myers. He opens things up a ton for them. Even if he's not catching the ball, the defense has to respect him because if they don't and they let him fly by, Mac will hit him for a touchdown probably. Like we saw big play to Aguilar against the Chargers. It wasn't a touchdown, but it was a big play. So they got to respect it. We'll switch to this real quick. He was not at practice today. Aguilar has a concussion, was not at practice today. And Ramondre Stevenson, also something to watch. Illness, he missed practice today. If I had to guess, if that's not COVID, I assume, then I'm guessing Ramondre will be back. It's an illness. He should be good to go by Sunday, I would assume. So I'm not that concerned about that. My big concern is Nelson Aguilar and then Kendrick Bourne with COVID. Bourne, I'm not sure if he's going to be back yet. It sounds semi-hopeful. It sounds semi-hopeful based on he hasn't had symptoms. I don't know if you've seen his Instagram post, but he's going crazy. Like he's going insane, posting all this weird shit because he's just going crazy because he has COVID and doesn't know what to do. He's like, he told Trent Brown to tell Robert Kraft to free him because he's got COVID, but he feels fine. So we'll see about that. I don't know if the new protocols affect that at all, but I'm more hopeful that he'll be back than Aguilar. I'll say that.
Yeah, when you're dealing with a concussion, it's more likely that you're going to get a guy back from COVID now than a concussion with how strict the NFL is on, both COVID and concussions. But it's a lot easier if you're asymptomatic and you can test out of the COVID protocol. If you got a concussion, that's kind of just getting over it, letting your body feel better. But Rune Dog said, Allen, aka Lamar Jackson. I think it should be flipped. Josh Allen currently leads the entire league in the NFL in yards per rushing attempt, 6.2 yards per rushing attempt. And the thing that scares me about that is we just gave up 3 freaking fourth down conversions to Carson Wentz on 4th and 1s. Buffalo's going to look at that and they're going to say, geez, well, Josh Allen's 6'3". Let's just QB sneak it with him. And he's a dang good runner and he's a tough guy. And let's just do that. That's what scares me is getting in 4th and 1s, 4th and 2s, and Buffalo being like, hey, Indy had success. Let's do it.
I will say real quick that Indianapolis's interior, their offensive line, I mean, you got Quentin Nelson. It's way better. The Buffalo's offensive line is not nearly what the Colts is, but I'd take Josh Allen on a QB sneak over Carson Wentz any day. So it's a little bit of give and take there, but go ahead. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's you're looking at things and Buffalo's going to look at ways that Indianapolis was able to find success against us. They're going to be like, how can we replicate this success and what can we do to tweak it a little bit so that we have this same success and we can jump on them early and take away their run game, make them have to throw it like they don't want to do that. I mean, New England and Buffalo, you think of offensive strategies, they're 100% flipped. Buffalo wants to pass it first and run it. Like we said, New England wants to run it to set up the pass. So Buffalo's going to try to take that away. New England's going to try to take that away. It's going to be a chess match between McDermott and Bill. And we all know how freaking big of a baby Sean McDermott is and
Oh my
how
God.
easily he can get irritated. So
Hate that
we'll have
guy.
to see.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I hate him so much. I honestly, I don't hate any coach in the NFL except Sean McDermott. That's it. That's literally it. There's not I mean, I don't like Andy Reid just because it's the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and all that, but I hate Sean McDermott. He's so soft. He's such a crybaby. It's so annoying. So I would love to beat Buffalo, not only just to win the division, but just to hear Sean McDermott whine and cry some more and pout and all of this. If we lose, he's going to be so happy and it's going to make me so mad. Not even that, just that we lost to Buffalo, but seeing him just last year when he beat the Patriots, he was like, "Oh, I'm really going to soak this in. This is great. This, and it's like, relax. You beat the Patriots you beat them once, twice with Cam Newton at quarterback in a COVID year with all these opt outs and Tom Brady just relax. Okay. Relax. It's so enough of that. I could rant about Sean McDermott all day. So we'll move on from that. But yeah, there's a lot of factors in this game that's going to make it interesting. I hope we get our guys back. Hopefully nobody else tests for COVID. Like I said, it's tough. Guys that made the Bills coach their own emoji. Yep. That should be his new profile picture on Instagram. That should be McDermott's right there. But yeah, it's going to be a fun game. There's so many different aspects of this football game. They do want to play completely differently. Buffalo's offense is high flying passing offense, and we'll throw up the QB stats while we're talking about this. Passing offense for sure. They are currently ranked offensively via PFF 13th. We're actually ranked 5th, which is kind of shocking. And defense, they're 9th. We're 3rd. Overall, they're 6th. We're 4th. So kind of talking about different percentage of plays. They only run the ball 33% of the time. So they run the ball once every 3 plays. We run it 44% of the time, pass it 55%. So we still pass more than we run, obviously. And in this time in the NFL, that's what most teams do. But they definitely like to pass a lot more than they run. And they have a lot more success with the passing game than the running game. Josh Allen, one key to stopping him, similar to what we said with Carson Wentz last week. His passer rating when clean is 105.5. Passer rating when under pressure drops to 73.6. So it's a 32-point drop when he has a clean pocket and when he's under pressure. So getting pressure on him is going to be huge, yet containing him in the pocket and not letting him run out of it, make plays with his legs and his arm is going to be a big key in this game.
Yeah, and I thought New England did a decent job of that last time they played. They got 16 total pressures, which was only 2 sacks. They had 4 pressures from Judon, 4 from Van Noy, and then 1 from a bunch of guys. You got Barmore, Godchow, Wise, Jamie Collins. You're going to have to get pressure on him different ways, and it's a different type of pressure because Josh Allen is nowhere near, like, say, a Matt Ryan or a guy like that. Like, if you're getting pressure on him, you got to contain in your rush lanes also because he's got so many escape moves. He's so elusive. He can get out of the pocket. So when you're getting pressure on him, you got to have all aspects covered. You might get great pressure by Matt Judon, but that doesn't mean he's going to get the sack because you have another guy coming off the edge, Dietrich Wise or whoever jumps inside, gets sealed. That could be a 20-yard rush by Josh Allen just because he can create with his feet. So this is going to have to be a very disciplined game by our pass rushers to staying, keeping him in the pocket and not letting him flush and create once we do get pressure on him. And then getting him to the ground. He's a big-bodied guy. He's a big quarterback. He's physical. He's not a Kyler Murray where he's the most elusive guy, but for how big he is, he's going to make guys miss and he's going to break tackles. So once you get your hands on him, hold on for dear life. Wait till the cavalry comes and get him on the ground. Don't let him squirm out of things. Don't let him throw a ball up and get a catch or something. Like get him on the ground once we get to him. And I think that we'll be in good shape. I think that our pass rushes, Judon, congrats to him, just got named a Pro Bowler. Same with JC Jackson. And then you said a couple guys got robbed of the Pro Bowl votes. We'll get into that a little later. But
David Andrews and Nick Folk were both leading Pro Bowl votes every time they checked in, which is like 3 separate times. And then all of a sudden they just didn't make the Pro Bowl at all. I don't know. It was strange to me, but go ahead.
No, it was definitely, there's him or those two. And then you said Cardona too. And
Slater did make it.
Slater made it.
Good, I'd argue that maybe Folk and David Andrews deserved it more than Slater. Slater hasn't had his best year, but I mean, and he wasn't leading in the voting. from what I saw, the fan voting at least, do they do more than just fan voting? The players and all that vote too.
Yeah, so the players vote, executives vote, and coaches vote, and same with the people. But the people's vote is only like 25%, and then the players votes another 25. Like how they weigh it, everything's weighed a little differently.
Okay, that makes sense then.
So
okay, yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. But on the Josh Allen topic as well, we should have had a lot more sacks on him. We missed a few key ones. We let him break the pocket. It's going to be huge. He almost turned one of those into the game-winning touchdown to Dawson Knox, but Adrian Phillips made a tremendous play on 3rd and like 17 or whatever it was. But also Josh Allen, turnover-worthy play percentage is 3.5%. Max is 2.64. So he has his fair share of turnover-worthy plays. He throws the ball a lot. You got to take advantage of them, especially a Bills team like this. Their defense is good. Their defense is not going to want to let up the bully ball mindset that we had last time. They're going to be ready. I know they're still missing Tre'Davious White, but other than that, I don't think they have any key injuries currently that I know of, at least. Maybe I should have checked that before.
I mean, outside of Emmanuel Sanders, if he is not good to go, Micah Hyde's questionable. John Hughes is questionable. Cole Beasley, they have one of their tackles, Dawkins, who's on COVID also. And then AJ Epinesa, who's second-year dude out of Iowa. He's on the COVID list too. So they have a couple guys on the front 7. You look at John, is it John Hughes or Hughes?
Jerry Hughes.
Jerry Hughes, sorry. And then AJ Epinesa, like those guys are good run stuffers for them.
Yeah.
And then Micah Hyde, if he can't go, that's a top safety in the league right there.
He'll there's no way he's gonna miss this game.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that right now. There's no way. Him and Poyer. I know Poyer's not hurt, but there's no way that safety tandem would miss this game unless it was really bad. But he was limited. He played last week. I don't think that's anything. I didn't see him exit the game that I know of. So I assume he'll be playing. I don't think they'll be missing anybody big. They have a couple, like you just mentioned, guys in the defensive line. I think they both went on the COVID list when Kendrick Bourne did. So depending on their vaccination status, they could play in the game as well. So not any huge losses on their defense. Nothing notable. The biggest absence for them is Cole Beasley by far, and ours is Kendrick Bourne possibly, and Nelson Aguilar. I'm definitely concerned about that. I mean, that's going right back to our wide receiver group last year, and that's pretty terrifying. It would be Jacoby Myers, N'Keal Harry, and Gunner, and then Christian Wilkerson and Trey Nixon called up probably from the practice squad. That's scary. So hopefully at least one of those two guys. I don't know. Bourne's been performing better, but I'd almost argue that Aguilar's role opens up the offense and is more important to the other receivers and tight ends than Bourne's is, even though he's definitely having a better year and has been more productive. They're both really important to this offense. Even if Nelson doesn't get the targets, doesn't get the recognition, he does a lot for this offense that you don't see unless you break it down in the All-22 and you start to see, okay, this is why this route to Bourne was wide open, because Nelson Aguilar took the safety with him and a corner and opened that gap in the zone up to Kendrick Bourne or whatever it is. So it's two key players. I really hope they're good to go because I want to see both teams healthy, and I want their best. They want our best. I want to see who comes out on top and who wins in this playoff atmosphere at Gillette Stadium. It's going to be insane. I can't wait to hear the crowd on Sunday.
Oh, it better be insane, and I know it will be. And I think Bills fans travel very well too, so you're going to see.
Unfortunately,
you're going to see Bills fans there, but you gotta have New England fans there also, and it's going to be a swarm of them, a sea of them, and it's going to be exciting to hear that crowd going crazy again and playing for the AFC East Championship. And people thought that it would be a long time before New England was ever in that position again, and look where they are. So it'll be fun. There's a couple keys to the game, like we've just talked about, and it's going to be hard fought. Like, I don't think by any means that it's going to be a blowout. I hope that it is. I think we all hope it is. It takes a little stress off of us, but I fully expect this to be a full-on bloodbath. Two division teams that know each other very well, just played 3 weeks ago. It's going to be a bloodbath of a game where both teams want to, pretty much just kill the other team. They want to prove that they're the best in the AFC East. They got a lot to play for. Both in the playoff run, in the division. There's a ton laying on this game, and both teams know it.
for sure. And one thing I did want to mention that I forgot to say weeks ago, um, after that Bills game, I said that Ramondre, I thought arguably had a better game than Damien Harris. But going back and watching that game, watching the film on it, Damien Harris played really well. I mean, let's see. Yeah, he had 10 carries for 111 yards, 11.1 yards per carry. And I don't have the next gen stat thing pulled up right now, but he had, I mean, like 60% of his runs were for 10 yards or more, or something like that. 50%, half his runs were like 10 yards or more, which is insane. I mean, against a defense that knows you're running the football, he played really well. So his energy, hopefully that means he's feeling well. But having him back and hopefully Ramondre back for that game is going to be huge. Damien Harris is a baller. He's playing really well this year. I kind of underestimated how well he played that game just because I think I didn't see him a ton. And Ramondre kind of flashed as a guy who got a lot of carries, but he was really consistent with it. And he made some plays he made something out of nothing a lot of times. And they both played really well that game, but Damien Harris took advantage of the opportunities, even if they were minimal, that he had. And he had a lot of big chunks, and that's what we need. Get ahead of the sticks this game. That's going to be huge. I don't think if we run the ball as much as we did that last game, I don't think we can win because I don't think our defense will hold up as well in perfect weather as it did in that crappy, crazy wind. I mean, Josh Allen, that throw to Stephon Diggs, he would have caught on the left side and probably on the right side if the weather was perfectly fine. So it's going to be a tough game. Both teams are going to be able to score the ball, but it's still both defenses are tremendous, and it's going to be no points are going to be easy. Everything's going to be earned. Nothing's going to be given. So having Damien Harris back, able to run the ball, set up the play action, it's going to open things up a lot for Mac, and also Ramondre Stevenson having that 1-2 punch would be huge.
Yeah, Damien Harris, obviously in that game, he had 2.8 yards after contact on average. And then you look at Ramondre Stevenson, he averaged just over 3 yards after contact, and he forced 9 missed tackles. Damien Harris forced 2 missed tackles. And you look at that and you go, okay, like these guys, they're not just hitting open holes and, hitting them and going there, or especially Ramondre Stevenson. They're making guys miss. They're getting yards after contact. They're driving their feet. That's what I want to see. And then you look at the rushing by direction chart that I'm looking at right now. I wish I could share my screen, but I'm on my iPad, but I'll try to break it down. But obviously we had the big run to Damien Harris, the 64-yard touchdown. But other than that, they rushed out on the left end 12 times, around the right end 8 times. You look off tackle, they ran a total of 23 rushes out of 46 off tackle. So about half of their rushes are coming off tackle. And I feel like that's pretty high compared to most teams where they found something, they wanted to expose them rushing the ball on the outside. I'm interested to see if they continue to do that, or if they go back and have some more power football and want to shove it down their throat. So I'm excited to see how this offense, how Josh McDaniels, how Bill Belichick, Mac Jones, how they game plan for this, because it looked like a very unique game plan, obviously with only the 3 passing attempts, but just looking at the rushing chart, how many times they hit the outside of the tackle or outside of the tight ends. I mean, you don't see many sweeps in the NFL unless it's with Brandon Bolden on 3rd down.
Oh God! Kidding. Don't get me started.
No, but
don't get me started on that.
Sweeps in the NFL, I feel like you don't see a ton. You're going to see it once or twice in a game to, just try it and make the defense respect it. But to see 12 rushes outside of the tight end just on the left side alone, and 8 rushes outside of the tight end on the right, just in that game 3 weeks ago, seems like it was a lot. We'll see how that affects both Buffalo's game plan and New England's game plan.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be interesting. That third and 2 tosses to Brandon Bolden is not my cup of tea. We got
it's the most overused play call in the NFL.
Oh my goodness. First hot take, Hunter Henry 3 touchdowns. I would love that. That'd be great. One thing, actually, speaking of that real quick, speaking of Hunter Henry and the red zone, the biggest problem that I currently still see with the Patriots offense is in the red zone, it's either a Hunter Henry touchdown or it's nothing. And that's it. And I don't know if that's Josh McDaniels. I don't know if that's execution. I don't know what that is. But Jonnu Smith had 9 red zone touchdowns last year for the Titans. There's no reason he should not be utilized in the red zone like this. Whether you use him on sweeps, whatever you use him on, get him involved. There's more than one guy. N'Keal Harry is a monster at 50-50 balls. He's obviously not the most consistent at creating separation, but it's worth a shot, dude. It's better than targeting Hunter Henry every single time, whether he's doubled, tripled, quadrupled, whatever it is. Give him a shot. I mean, if you don't have any plays you're confident in, throw it up to N'Keal on a fade route, see what he can do, or a slant route, or comeback, whatever it is. I mean, he had that one that Cam zipped into him on like a little mini comeback route and just past the goal line, and he scored on against the Chargers last year. Give him a chance. Throw the ball up high to him and let him go get it. That's what he does. That's what he's good at. That's one of the few things that he can do at a consistent level in the NFL. So we got to have more red zone threats, whether it's running backs coming out of the backfield as well. Hunter Henry, we got Jonnu Smith, N'Keal Harry, and guys like Kendrick Bourne and Jacoby Myers who create separation quickly. You got to get these guys more involved. Maybe Nelson Aguilar's not the best end zone threat. He's more of a take the top of the defense kind of guy, but that's our biggest problem. If we continue to struggle in the red zone like this and continue to kick field goals this often, we're not going to win in the playoffs. We're not going to beat the Bills. It's definitely a problem. I know that's may seem like an overreaction because we just lost to the Colts and if our red zone performance wasn't great, but when's the last time you remember seeing Hunter Henry not get a touchdown and multiple guys get touchdowns in a row, like in the receiving game? Like Kendrick Bourne caught a great catch against the Titans, but overall, there's not much going through the air that's not to Hunter Henry in the end zone. So I'd like to see Jonnu get more involved. I'd like to see some more creativity in the red zone. It's just we keep stalling and kicking field goals, and that's not going to be good enough when it comes playoff time against high flying offenses like Buffalo.
Yeah, New England's fallen back down to 40% touchdowns in the red zone the last 3 weeks. They're at 54% on the year, which I don't think is horrible. But the good news is New England at home, their red zone scoring touchdowns only 66%. On the road, it's 39%. So we're in a place where New England has felt comfortable and has put up touchdowns in the red zone. So, yeah, I agree with you. You got to keep that up. The difference between 7 points, 6, and hopefully with how Nick Folk's been at 7, and 3 is huge, especially in the game against Josh Allen and the Bills. If you're putting up 3 points and you're giving up 7, it's going to be, you're going to be chasing them for a long time. You kind of think of that Indianapolis game. What kept us in the game, at least at the end, is we got out of a couple drives and we should have gotten out of one with no points when they missed the field goal. Then we line up offside. So yeah, getting touchdowns in the red zone and then holding them is definitely something. Do you think we can get Julian Edelman back for the game Sunday? Hey, I think every Patriots fan would love to see Jules for one more game. I just don't think it's possible. I feel like that's a long shot, and I'd love to see it. I'd put my Edelman jersey back on so dang fast, but I just don't see how that's going to happen. And, to get a guy at his age and the injury history he's had and stuff to come out of retirement and now he has 3 days to practice. It's unrealistic, although it would be awesome.
If anybody could do it, it'd be Jules.
Could you imagine how electric the stadium would be with Jules running out? No one knows.
11,
obviously they'd have to like put him on the roster, but him running out, sprinting down 100 yards and giving, that would be awesome. But
give him some weird number on Friday on when the media's there as a practice, and then just don't report it. Let him show up. Let him walk out there. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if he came back, if we made it to the Super Bowl? He's like, I'm coming back for one more ring, real quick. Real quick.
Let me get one more.
I can make one more game. Come on.
And it's him against it's the Patriots Bucks, so he gets to play Brady and Gronk.
That'd be. Oh my God! Can you imagine? That'd be insane. But I hate to look back. What makes me mad is the Pats would have won the Colts game if they scored, made it 20-14. 20 instead of 20-10, kicking the field goal. Yeah, they're 5 yards away, just dumb penalties. Yeah, that's another thing is like we struggle enough in the red zone. If you get down to the 1 or 2 yard line and you commit a false start penalty, you're shooting yourself in the foot and you're screwing yourself. So it's tough. We can't do stuff like that. Penalties were a big problem last game, and it's not even like overall penalties like throughout the whole game. It's in key situations they were just screwing up, and I think a lot of that has to do with the atmosphere the Colts presented, because we let them get ahead so much so early that those fans were into it the entire game. When you're on the road, you got to keep a lead. You got to quiet those fans down. Don't let them ever get into it. And that's how you control the game and quiet the atmosphere and go out there and win. So that's something that was tough is you let the away team get a lead like that in a dome. That stadium's kind of crazy. It seemed pretty loud. You can't do that. And you can't commit stupid penalties in the red zone in key situations when we really need it the most. you can't have that. I am frustrated. I mean, if we didn't let that punt get blocked, we would have been tied, or we would have been actually leading at the end of the game. We would have been up 17-14. Obviously, you can't guarantee they would have played it the same way. They probably would have thrown the ball more or done whatever. But, and one other thing from that game, last thing I'll say, Belichick also mentioned, he was like, I have no idea why T.Y. Hilton wasn't ejected. He literally shoved the official on the ground, accidental or not, which was true. And I thought of that when I was watching the game live. I saw the official just fly to the ground. I was like, what the heck happened there? Somebody's getting ejected. But then they never showed it. Nobody ever said anything about it. T.Y. Hilton and Pittman should have been ejected both. And then T.Y. Hilton made a big play on third down, or second down, third down. He made a big play for a first down, like 20 yards later in that game after Pittman was ejected. So you never know. A lot of things that game. The officiating wasn't great. It wasn't consistent. Overall this year, I posted on my story, the officiating has been taking over games way too much. It's been affecting the outcome of games way too much this year, and it's got to change. It's ridiculous. That Seahawks call the other night, the non-pass interference call, that was ridiculous. You never know what would have happened there. Just overall, there's been so many calls that are it's so inconsistent. If you're consistent with it, then it's okay. Maybe they don't agree with it, but at least you're consistent. But when you're, okay, this is a flag, but this isn't, and they're it's the exact same play, then it's like, okay, what do you want? How are the players supposed to play this if you don't know what's going to be called and what's not? It's impossible. If you don't know what the rule is because the officials call it differently every play, how are you supposed to do anything? It's ridiculous, and it makes it hard to play the football game.
Yeah. If you think about it, we should be 13-2 right now because 3 of the games were all over one play, and this weekend was a trap game, playing Bills and then playing Colts Bills again. It's a trap game. I think 13-2. I mean, I see what you're saying. You could easily be 13-2, but
we also could have lost the Texans game. That was a close game. You know what I mean? Yes. You can do that every game. We also could have maybe lost the Chargers, or you can do that every year with every single team. So as much as I do agree with you, it's crazy to think about how good this team could have been if they made a few plays, but the fact is they didn't. And you can do that every single game with every single team, unless it's a blowout like the Browns or whatever. That game, obviously, there's no way we could have lost that game there's no way we could have lost that game. So I agree in a sense, and it's fun to think about, but at the end of the day, we didn't win. So that kind of is what it is.
Now, is it fair to say, maybe 10-4, maybe Nick Folk hits a field goal and we beat Tampa Bay? Maybe, we don't throw. Mac Jones doesn't get a bad throw to Trayvon Diggs and he takes it to the house, and maybe we beat Dallas. Like, I could see you saying 10-4, maybe 11-3. I just feel like that's a stretch, because when you're playing great teams like that, you can't give them opportunities like that. You have to take it into your hands and you have to go out and win. And it's more than just one play. I get it. When you look back, you're like, if you would have just made this play, but yeah, well, if he would have made that play and you would have made another play and you would have played that, we would have been up by 21. So there's so many things to point back on.
I agree. And the Bills could have beat us too. If Dawson Knox makes that catch in the end zone, if that pass didn't get broken up on third down with a minute left, we probably lose that game. You know what I mean? So you can do that every game, both ways. It's tough to say that. I do think we should. Max 69% is so nice. That's his completion percentage exactly this year. Some Patriots page said Gronk somewhere is smiling right now.
I saw a Patriots page. I think it was Pat's Pulpit said Gronk has immediately requested a trade back to New England.
Yeah. After that, he's like, I got to be a part of this. Right.
I got to be with Mac.
But yeah, you can do that. You can do that every game. It's tough to say. I would like to think we could have had 1 or 2 of the 3 or 4 that we ended up losing. It stinks. The Dolphins one is a killer. The Bucks hurts me to my soul. Imagine beating Brady in Foxborough that game. Mac's 4th game. That would have been crazy. The Cowboys game. There's a bunch of different ones. But end of the day, we are where we are. All we can do from here on out is control our own destiny and win the football games that are presented in front of us. So we got to take care of business this week.
Yes, we do. And speaking of taking care of business, let's get into it. Do you have anything else for the preview, or should we get into the game line?
No, I think we talked about injuries. I think we touched on pretty much. I mean, we're 45 minutes in. We haven't even started any of the other stuff. We probably should get started on that.
All right, well, let's do it. Patriots Bills Sunday 1 p.m. Like we said, should be a primetime game, but it's okay. Patriots are currently 2.5-point favorites at home. Do you have them covering this? I think I know the answer.
Do I usually read the records now, or do I wait till?
Oh yeah, you should probably read the records from last week.
Okay, so This past week on the over-unders, I was 6-3. Jace was 4-5. Spread predictions, I was 4-2. You were 2-4. So total on the year over/under, I am 41-34. Jace is 38-37, so just over 500.
Yes.
Spread predictions, I'm 35-28. Jace is 33-30.
Okay.
And then score predictions, I have 4 wins. You have 5. We tied last week on the score predictions, which is crazy. We were both 14 points off total, like from both sides. You predicted the Colts score correct. You said they'd score 27, but you had us scoring 31. So that was 14 points off what they had 17 or whatever. But that was a close one. But yeah, that was our stats last week. Not bad. It could have been a little better. A couple spreads were pretty close that we said over or under on, and it was barely over or barely under. So there were some close ones this week, but overall, I think we did decent. Not a terrible week. It's much better than my 1-6 week last week that I had. So I'll take this one.
Well, mine's worse than my 5-2 week, so I hate it.
That's okay. That's fair enough. I don't blame you for that. I would hate it as well.
Do you want to, before we get in, do you want to answer this question? Will Tom Brady sign a 10-day contract with the Patriots so he can retire a Pat, or what would you think?
He better. I mean, come on.
This might just be Patriots fans saying this, but I feel like he would, right? Like
you have to. Like what?
He is maybe, and I don't want to say this because everyone's been writing Brady off. He's maybe going to play 4 years in Tampa Bay. I'd give him 4 years maximum because that would be 47 years old he's playing till.
At this point, honestly, I'm not putting a cap on it.
I mean, I don't want to, but you look at it, the way he just restructured his contract, everything, like I see him playing maybe 4 years there. And you think of Michael Jordan, guys like that, like you retire as a Patriot. You retire as a Patriot and you're going to get your jersey hung up there. You should get a statue right next to Bill's. You know, like you just retire as a Patriot. Now, maybe he sees it differently because of the way everyone says it went down, and I guess we'll never really know the truth, but I would feel like he would come back and retire as a Patriot.
I mean, he better, dude. I'm going to be so mad if he doesn't because I'm already tired of seeing him in a Bucs uniform everywhere. Anytime you see a picture of Tom Brady, it's in the Bucs, and I just don't want him to be remembered like Peyton Manning was for that. So I hope he's not. That's my biggest fear with that. It stinks. It really does. I hate that he's anywhere else, but I honestly think at this point, Giselle makes him retire before his body does. And that's crazy to say at his age.
Yeah, that definitely is. She's going to be the judge and tell him you gotta freaking hang it up or else your kids or you might have. So, but anyways, all right, game line right here. Patriots 2.5-point favorite. What are you doing here?
I got the Bills covering this one.
Boo! It's horrible.
Hey, all I said was the Bills were covering it. That means it could mean we win by 1, you know?
Hey, good teams win, great teams cover the spread. That's all I've been told. So you're saying we're just a good team. We're not great. Shame on you.
I mean, 9-5 is pretty good against the spread. I'll take it. That's what the Pats are.
Just like our record.
Yep, exactly.
So
what you got?
I have them covering this. I mean, New England at home, AFC East on the line, Bill Belichick. I have them covering. I think that this is a game where maybe the Bills come out and overhype themselves. Like they want this game so bad. That isn't always a good thing. Like there's such thing as overhyping yourself and trying to do too much and not being able to control your emotions and stuff. Like if there's any team in the NFL and there's going to be any game, I could see it being this game with Buffalo and New England, where Buffalo just comes out hair on fire and it ends up biting them in the butt. Maybe a guy gets ejected. Maybe they're just, so hyped up they can't focus. So
could be a chippy game.
I definitely think it will be a chippy game for sure. So I expect New England to cover this. So I have not lost faith in them yet, and I never will.
Okay, this is a good question. We'll explain this right now. So can you guys somewhat explain what 2.5 minus 2.5 means and cover and all that stuff? That's the one thing in football I don't understand. Yeah, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that, just in case anybody else doesn't know. So Patriots minus 2.5 means that you're picking from the final score, you're going to subtract 2.5 points from the Patriots score and then see who wins. So say the Patriots score 20 and the Bills score 17. Then you take 2.5 points from the Patriots score. So that would be 17.5. and then the Bills score it was 17. So 17.5 to 17. So the Patriots win that. So that would be covering the spread is saying, I think they are going to win by more than the 2.5 points that they're getting. So if the Patriots are minus 2.5, that means they're favored to win by 2.5 points. If they're plus, that means they're favored to lose, or they're expected to lose by 2.5 points. So that's what the plus minus is in the cover and all that stuff. I don't know if I explained that well, but you got anything to add on
No, that was good. I was just going to say, so
Okay.
you look at the Lions last week when they beat the Cardinals. Cardinals come in as a 14-point favorite. So their line was negative 14. Obviously, Detroit won. So they cover that spread. Okay. Now, if you go down and you look at, I'm trying to find a good one. Let's see. Cowboys. The Cowboys were a 10.5-point favorite against the Giants. They win 21-6. So they cover that spread because they won by more than 10.5. All you have to do is cover this. So if you're a negative favorite, that means you're the favorite. If it's plus 2.5, that means, so Buffalo in
You're
this
the
case, it's
underdog.
always reverse. Buffalo's plus 2.5. They're the underdog, which when I first got into it, that messed with my mind too.
Yeah.
When you're looking at it, you're like, oh, plus 2.5, Buffalo's the favorite. No, it's not how it works in betting. They're saying they're giving the Patriots a 2.5-point margin of victory. So we look at that here, and when we go onto our other spread picks, you'll see that we're picking. If you see a -6, that means that we're saying that whoever it is, that they're going to win by 6 or more. So it's possible that New England can still win this game, like Cole picked. They could win 20-19, but that doesn't mean they covered the spread because they only won by 1 point. So that's how the spread works in football, in basketball, NBA. And then when you see the over/under, which we'll go to right now, might as well go there. This is how many total points. So now we're saying, are the Bills and the Patriots combined going to score over 43.5 points? So, Cole.
Yes, I have the under, I believe. Close your eyes, everybody, real quick. Yeah, I got the under. I got the under by 0.5 point. So I think it's going to be close. I think it could go over. I think these two defenses and for familiarity with each other of just playing a couple weeks ago, I think, or it'll be 20 days exactly when they play. So just under 3 weeks separation from the last time they played each other. So I have the under in this one, but it's going to be close.
I'm kind of regretting my pick now. I have the over. It says it's supposed to be 29 degrees with a chance of snow. And
really,
that's what it's saying right here where I'm looking at on
yesterday.
PFF.
It said 40 degrees and something.
See, and that's what I've seen. That's what I've seen all week is, 40 and, cloud cover. But PFF is saying 29 and snow. So if that's the case, I hate my over pick. But if it's 40 degrees and clear skies and stuff, I love my over pick because I think that Josh Allen can throw for more than what he did. And I hope that Mac Jones and the Patriots can put up more than 14 points because I don't think you're going to hold Buffalo to 10 points again. You're not going to score 14 points again and expect to win this game. That was a combination of a lot of things.
Yeah, and no problem. That was a great question. If any of you guys have questions like that, don't be afraid to ask them. We're more than willing to explain anything you guys don't understand. So that was a good question. I don't think we ever actually explained that yet on this podcast. So that was a good question. The weather report here says Foxborough on Sunday, high of 40 degrees, light rain and freezing rain in the morning, becoming partly cloudy in the afternoon, high of 40, winds northwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour. So looks like maybe a little bit of rain and snow in the morning and then tailing off in the afternoon to more cloudy and decent weather. I mean, that's not terrible for late in December football, 40 degrees. That's actually pretty nice. So I'm sure they'll take that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then I love my over pick here. And with that being said, let's get into our score predictions. Cole, 23-20 Buffalo. You said that. Okay. Wow. I think I'm going to exit out of this podcast right now. Cole can
guys, so that's
himself just to you.
That's it for today, guys. That's no. Yeah. I mean, hey, I picked the Patriots last week and they lost. That's the first time I picked them in a couple weeks and they ended up losing. So I gotta flip it back. I picked the Patriots to lose against the Bills last time and we won. So I have to do the same thing. I mean, there's no way I can't do the same thing unless I want to just jinx us to lose again. And I care too much about the Patriots to have it be my fault that they lost. So I gotta pick the Bills in this one again by 3.
You're very thoughtful.
I think it's gonna be a really close game. I think it's gonna go back and forth a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills won. I think it's gonna be such a tough game, depending on who we get back from COVID, who stays out. It's gonna be a really tough game back and forth the entire time. And the Bills are pissed. They don't want to lose to the Patriots 2 times in a row. The Patriots are pissed about last week as well. And if any of those mistakes carry over, we're going to lose. So if the Patriots play a clean game, we are capable of beating this Bills team, and I hope that's the outcome.
I haven't seen enough consistency from Buffalo to say that they're going to win this game. And I guess you can say New England wasn't consistent at the start of the year, but the last 8 games, the last 7 games, they were consistent. Last game, they weren't. I'm going to take the chances. I'm going to say that this is New England's game. This is everything they want. I don't think that you're going to play sloppy at your home field, AFC East on the line. Buffalo's going to come in and give. This is their season right here, right? Like everything they've wanted. They've talked about.
That's what I'm worried about.
This is our division now. We're going to run it for 20 years. Like you can't run it for 20 years if you lose after the first year you win it and give it
That's
back
not
to
a great
New
start,
England.
is it? That's a very poor start.
So, New England's aware of that. They know that Buffalo's going to come in and give them their best shot. New England's going to give them their best shot. They got to get back on there. They don't want to lose the 2-game advantage they had just like that. And then, like you said, they lose this. All of a sudden, they're in the wild card. They're traveling to Miami to play a division opponent again. That's always a tough game. So this has a lot on the line for both teams. I don't see New England losing it. I can see them losing. I don't want to say that, but
it's very, very possible. It's gonna be a really tough game.
Possible. Everything's possible.
It's probably coming down to the last play, like the last game did. I mean, it's gonna be a really tough game. PFF agrees with you. It says it has like 1 out of 3 bars for the value on New England minus 2.5 and the over. So PFF agrees with you on this one. So I hope you're right. I hope it's right.
PFF don't lie.
Let's see. So it's the last one for a while, so you continue if we lose. If we lose and we both have the same record, how do we decide who's first and second? So that's a good question. Ask as many questions as you want. We love you guys engaging and being a part of the podcast. So don't be afraid to ask any questions. You're good. You don't have to stop asking questions. Ask whatever you want. It's good topics for the podcast. So first, if we lose this game, Buffalo is first in the AFC East, and that is decided by conference record and obviously head-to-head, but we would both have 1, so that wouldn't matter. And then I think it goes down to what? Strength of schedule after that, because currently we have a better conference record than the Bills. But if we lose this game and the Bills win, I think we might be tied conference record. I'm actually not sure.
So
I read somewhere that the Bills go to first place, but I don't remember why, because I thought we had a better conference record than they did.
So let's we can kind of do this together. It goes head to head. So if we lose, it's going to be 1-1. So that's a wash. Then it goes best win percentage in games played within the division. So if Buffalo were to win, what would their division record be? Do you have that pulled up? Do you have the division?
Standings, division, yes. Okay. No, that's just home and away record on this part. I'm pretty sure the Patriots are now only have 2 losses. We've only lost to the Dolphins and the Colts in the conference.
But okay, so this is going division. So we've only lost to the Dolphins in the division, right?
Well, that would be the Dolphins and the Bills. The Bills beat the Dolphins twice.
Yeah,
so they have a better division record than we do. We have a better conference record than they do.
So if they were to beat us, they would go to 4-1 in the division. We would fall to 3-2 in the division. That would give them the tiebreaker. That's why.
That's what it is.
So that's how they win it. Is head to head is a wash. So then the next one they go to is best win percentage in games within the division. Now, if that were to be a wash, then it would go to best win percentage in common games. So then they'd go against the Colts because they played the Colts too.
Both lost.
Then it would be like the Dolphins or who else have they played? Carolina. We played Carolina. We beat
That's
Carolina.
out of the conference, though, right?
But it doesn't. I think it's
Okay. We both beat Carolina. We both lost to the
just
Bucks.
common game, so it doesn't matter conference.
Okay. They're going to play the Falcons. They're going to play. So think about this. This is kind of like stretching it out a little bit, but if this game is absolutely enormous. Like, it's a must win for if you want to win the division, you have to win this game. Like,
yeah,
no question about it. The only way we could win the division if we lose this game is if we beat the Jaguars and the Dolphins and they lose to the Jets. Because that would put our division record both at 4-2, and we'd have a better conference record than they have.
Yes.
The Jets are not beating the Bills. You cannot rely on the Jets to beat the Bills. So, must win game. I mean, you got to win it. You got to win it. Unless they lose to the Falcons and we win out, we would have to have a better record unless we tied for record and the Bills lost to the Jets. So that's the only way in that case. It's tough. It's tricky, but if you don't want to have to deal with all this shit, then just win the game. That's about it. You want to win the division, you got to win this game. It's kind of as simple as that.
Yeah, so how I look at it is head-to-head record, right? Obviously, you win here, you're 2-0. It's taken care of.
It's over.
If you lose here 1-1, then you go down to the division. We would have 2 losses in the division. They'd only have 1. You'd be relying on the Jets to beat them. Then, even if the Jets do beat them, it goes to best win percentage in common games. So now you got to look at teams we both played. We both have played Houston. We both have played Tennessee. We will both have played Jacksonville. Indianapolis.
So we beat. They lost.
Yes. Yeah, so when you look at it, we beat Houston. They beat Houston. We beat Tennessee. They lost to Tennessee. So we'd have the upper hand there. They lost to Jacksonville too. Hopefully we beat Jacksonville. They lost to the Colts too. Hopefully, and we lost to the Colts, but we still have the advantage. They lost to the Buccaneers. We lost to the Buccaneers. We both beat the Panthers. And then we have the Falcons. So there is a chance where if New York beats them, the Jets, then we will have the advantage on common games. But like you said, you can't rely on the Jets. So take advantage.
Think about that. Think about having to rely on the Jets to be the AFC East. I mean, there's no way that'd be that's the worst case scenario. You got to win this game. CJ side game. Thank you guys. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for all the questions and stuff. Yeah, you don't want to have to. You really don't want to have to rely on the Jets. So this is a must-win game for both teams, honestly.
For sure. All right, so that's our score prediction. Let's get into it. Hot takes is Pat Scout IG here. I know he's been here, and he said
Jets do suck, but they won.
We already had one hot take. It was Hunter Henry 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
We need some more, but do you have any to start off?
He's here. He's back.
Let's go.
You know, after missing a few weeks, he's back. You know, he was slacking. He's
cook
slacking
them up
for
in the
weeks.
comments. Cook up those hot takes in the comments.
Yeah, Pat Scout. If you got any of yourself, drop those in the comments. You got any off the top of your head?
Yes, I'm gonna start off by saying Mac Jones throws more than 3 passes.
Like, I mean, come on.
I said
2
that
weeks
last
in a
week.
row. This is ridiculous.
This is easy.
You can't do it 2 weeks in a row. You got to say 4 this week or 2,
right.
but you can't say 3.
All right. I'm going to go with Jacoby Myers, 100 receiving yards. He's going to be our first 100-yard receiver. It's looking sketchy with Aguilar. Maybe no Kendrick Bourne. He's going to be the guy that Mac Jones is going to want to throw it to for yards, maybe not necessarily in the red zone, but I'm going to go with 100 yards for Jacoby Myers.
Christian Wilkerson gets elevated, puts up 50 receiving yards. I don't know how I feel about that, because if he gets elevated, that means we're missing a key receiver. So I don't love that. But if he gets elevated and puts up 50 yards, that's pretty good.
How about Julian Edelman gets activated and scores a touchdown?
Edelman is our first 100-yard receiver and 3 touchdowns as well. So that's going to be my hot take. Edelman comes back, has 100 yards, and actually he's going to set his new career high, beating Cam Newton to Edelman against Seattle week 2 last year. He's going to have like 180 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. Another one that I have is Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith both have 50 yards and combined for 1 touchdown.
Okay, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith both 50 yards, so 100 yards plus from our tight ends. I would love to see that. So
that'd be good.
I'm going to go on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to go 5 sacks. I'm going to go 5 sacks. He's going to scramble. I hope Bill puts a spy on him, whether it's Jamie Collins. Jamie Collins played great the last couple of weeks. Highest graded defender last week against the Colts. Could have had a pick 6 right there, but I'm going to go with 5 sacks on Josh Allen.
Wow. That would be amazing. That's a bold one. I would love that. That'd be great. Dame has a rushing and receiving touchdown. That's bold too. He hasn't scored in a few games, has he? Well, okay. Well, I guess the Bills.
I mean, the
Last time he
Bills
scored was
won, and
Bills.
then the bye, and then he did not score against Indy.
Okay, yeah, and then, well, because he missed the Indy game, obviously. But in receiving touchdown, I don't remember the last time he had a receiving touchdown. That doesn't happen often, but
Yeah.
that'd be great. Dame 2 touchdown game. That'd be awesome. Barmore has 2 sacks. That'd be great too.
Two of my 5.
2 of the 5 Barmore has right there. I mean,
Barmore 2, Judon 1, Jamie Collins 1, Dante Hightower half a sack, and Adrian Phillips half a sack.
AP with the half a sack right there.
coming, or Miles Bryant, someone, but yeah.
JC redeems himself and gets a pick 6. Should have had one last time. That is true. He should have had one last time. I don't know. I've been saying a couple all year long, and they haven't happened yet. I'm gonna go with Miles Bryant interception.
Okay.
And I don't know. Actually,
I like the Miles Bryant INT one for the fact that we don't know the status of Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley, where he might be playing a guy that maybe is a little easier to guard.
Like maybe McKenzie, though. I don't really love that either. I don't know who's going to play slot for them. McKenzie might go on the outside because he's more of a speed guy, right? And then Diggs might play some in the slot. Mac has a QB sneak for a touchdown. Has he had one yet?
No.
One maybe? No,
I don't think he has.
I don't think he has either. I don't know why we haven't used that more by the goal line. When we're in close yardage situation, he always seems to get it. I mean, he had one close call against, was it the Bills? Yeah, against the Bills on 4th down, but he got the first still. So that'd be nice too. A lot of good ones on here. If any of these happen, it's going to be looking good for the Patriots' chances of winning the game. So I like it, but I'm all out of actual hot takes. That's all I got.
I'm all out of them, but you guys can keep dropping them in the comments. We'll comment on them, but let's get into our player over-unders. Mac Jones, 228.5 passing yards. So this is weird because the Bills had their lines in DraftKings. So they had the lines for the Bills, but they did not have the lines for the Pats. So the Patriots lines are made up by me off of game statistics, what they have done in the past, and their kind of season averages. And then the Bills ones are actual ones. So this one's made up. Mac Jones, 228.5 passing yards.
Yeah. I'm going to go, I don't like this. I'm going to go just under. Hopefully our run game's effective enough to get us some in the run game, and then hopefully he doesn't have to throw it too much. If he's throwing from like 50 yards over this, that probably means we're playing from behind at some point, so I don't love that. I'm going to go under and hope that he doesn't need to throw because we have 150 yards rushing.
All right, I'm going to agree with Pat Scout's IG here. Over. He had 310 against Tennessee, 19 against Buffalo, 299 against Indianapolis. I think if he gets 30 passing attempts, he's going to, off of his season average, complete 20. Hopefully, he's going to get over this 228. So I'm going to go with the over here.
Yeah, I don't love my pick. I didn't feel great about either
but
side.
Then again, if it is 29 degrees and snowy, then you're going to be feeling real good about your pick. So
freezing rain and snow. Yeah,
yes.
That'd be nice.
All right, Josh Allen right here, 248.5 passing yards. This was set by DraftKings, so I really don't have anything to say on this one, how I got it, but
I'm gonna go under. I really don't love this either. But I'm gonna go under just based on his past performance. Carolina's a good team, a good defense. They put a lot of pressure on him. They still put up 31 points. Tampa Bay was the last time he did that. He threw for 310, and then New Orleans 260. It's going to be close to this. I think it's going to be really close, but I'm going to go under. Have confidence that our defense maybe shuts him down a little bit.
I'm going to go with the under also here. His career average against New England, 199.5, so right under 200 yards. He's 2-4 against the Patriots all time. The 2 wins coming last year. and one of them shouldn't even have been a win. So I'm going to go with the under here. I love the JC Jackson matchup on Stephon Diggs, and we saw how well Adrian Phillips can play, and having Kyle Duggar back is only going to help. So I'm going to go with the under.
Yeah, it's going to be close, I think, but hopefully it's not that close. Maybe he has 150, and that means we won the game handily. But it's going to be such a close game. I'm so excited, but so nervous at the same time. Like just talking about even the over unders, it's going to be so close, and it's going to be such a fun game to watch. But hopefully they come out on top, and we can have a happy podcast Sunday night.
Yes, I agree. Josh Allen rushing. This was set by DraftKings. Also 35.5 rushing yards. We talked about how big this would be for New England to hold him to not a lot of rushing yards.
I'm going to go over on this one. He had 39 last time against us, 109 against Tampa Bay. I think he's going to do anything he can, and I think that Carolina did a really good job putting pressure on him. I think they have more success in that aspect than we do in some capacity. They got Reddick, they got Brian Burns, they got some guys that can really create heavy pressure and fast speed linebackers that can fly by you, but also catch up and tackle Josh Allen. So he was held to 24 that game. I just think I've seen Bill Belichick defenses struggle with keeping big mobile quarterback. I mean, he's like a Ben Roethlisberger with legs. You know what I mean? Like Big Ben is Big Ben, but like stands there. Josh Allen is mobile. He's a Big Ben but mobile quarterback, which is crazy to say. He's hard to bring down. We've had our struggles with that, containing these really elite mobile quarterbacks in the pocket. Sometimes I know it's going to be a big part of the game plan. So I really hope he's under this, but I think he's going to do whatever he can to get a first down, whatever he can to win this game. And I'm gonna go over on that one. I think he'll have a decent amount of attempts.
All right, I'm going to go under because I have New England getting 5 sacks on him, and that's going to take his rushing total down, negative yards. So I don't love it, but I'm going to go under just because I have him getting sacks. And
does it count as a rush if you're sacked in the pocket?
It doesn't count as a rush, but it counts towards your rushing yards. You'll see some guys have negative rushing yards. Some quarterbacks will have negative rushing yards. So it's interesting how it works. But if it wasn't for that, I would smash the over on this. Like, I don't see how he doesn't get over 35.5 unless we sack him. So I like your pick a lot more than mine, but I'm going to go with my hot take and say he's getting negative yards. So
I hope you're right.
All right. Damien Harris, 59.5 rushing yards. Damien Harris, obviously 111 yards last time against Buffalo, and then did not play against Indianapolis or the bye week. So he's going to be fresh. Ramondre Stevenson questionable this week. So this seems like it's a pretty good line.
I'm going to go under. I don't know how healthy he is right now. If Ramondre doesn't play, he's probably going to go over because he's going to have to. But I think they're going to heavily try to stop the run like the Colts did, because if they can shut down the run, they're going to put it in Mac's hands against still a really good secondary and defense. And two veteran safeties that are two of the top in the game. So I'm going to go under. I hope if he gets over, if he goes for 150, we're winning the football game. So I hope Pat Scout is right, but I'm going to go under on this one just because I don't know how healthy he is. I mean, this hamstring injury is something that can linger and you can re-aggravate very easily. So hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully the rest did him well, and hopefully he's ready to go and ready to take the load. But they might limit his carries if Ramondre's back, and who knows. So I'm gonna go under on this one.
All right, give me the over. I'm agreeing. I don't think he goes for 150 like Pat Scout IG said, but I am excited to see Damien Harris hopefully get back. He hasn't had over 15 carries since the Carolina game. When he had 15, he's been 15, 10, 11, 10, and that's been because Ramondre has been so good. But if he's at full health, like he said, hopefully the 2 weeks off, technically 3 have done him well, and he's refreshed, rejuvenated, and he can get over 60 yards here, especially if Ramondre is not here. So what factor do you think the weather will play this game? I think it depends. We've seen the weather report. Cole said that he's seen high of 40 and clear skies, maybe a little
cloudy.
Freezing rain. Cloudy and maybe freezing rain. I've seen 29 and snow. So it depends. If it's snowy again, I think it factors in a lot. And I think New England's going to have the same mindset as what they did up in Buffalo. But also New England practices in that. So does Buffalo. So you're not going to see a game where New England only throws it 3 times again. But it will factor in. It's going to be a little sloppier. You're not going to have traction. You probably won't throw it as much as you would if it was rainy with the snow, and you're going to, it will be a factor. You don't know what the weather is going to be. You've seen so many different reports, and it's still
changes so fast.
4 days out. It can change so fast. It could be looking good pregame, and you could come out of the tunnel and it could be totally different. So it will be a factor. It just depends on if it's a positive or a negative factor, depending on what weather report is true and what it is come kickoff.
I say this all the time. I think every weather person, every meteorologist, whatever, I think they smoke crack right before they make their predictions because they're all so different and they're never right, which it's predicting the weather. It's extremely hard. I know that, but so I am just joking, but it's crazy how different everything you look at can be and what the actual outcome ends up being. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be easier to throw the ball in the snow than in the rain. I think Brady said that on the Man in the Arena thing. He said he doesn't mind the snow. It's the rain that's tougher. So, it's going to play a factor. If it's freezing rain, that's going to be tough to throw the ball. It's not going to be great if you have Josh Allen in fantasy.
Yeah, I'd bench him. He's going to get probably 5 points because he's not going to do very good.
But if it's snowing, that's still that's not a fact. I mean, the thing that stinks is Buffalo's from Buffalo. You know what I mean? It's just as bad weather, sometimes maybe worse than it is here. The only thing that's really going to affect Josh Allen in the passing game is freezing / regular rain, like heavy rain or heavy wind. It's not going to be heavy wind. We already know that, but there's a chance of some freezing rain, maybe some snow, but that's supposed to tail off in the morning to the afternoon. And by game time, it looks like it's supposed to be cloudy, high of 40. So it's supposed to be a nice day overall. Maybe it'll transition into early on in the game, but I don't see the weather being a big impact on this game, honestly.
Yep, I agree. It's not going to be like it was in Buffalo. It's not going to totally be, an oddball game. But Jacoby Myers right here, 54.5 receiving yards. This is, it seems high for what he's done. He had 44 against Indianapolis, 0 against Buffalo, 98 against Tennessee, but then 39 against Atlanta, 49 against Cleveland. But with the situation that our receivers are looking at, possibly no Kendrick Bourne, possibly no Nelson Aguilar, when we don't know about N'Keal Harry. N'Keal Harry should be good to go, right?
Yeah, he practiced today.
He's not in concussion protocol.
No, he had a hip injury, actually, that he was limited with today.
So, Jacoby, you're looking at a lot of targets and stuff, but what do you have here?
I'm going to have to agree with Pat Scout and go over, but it's scary because if Kendrick Bourne and or Nelson Aguilar's out, I don't think he's going to go over because they're going to pay a lot of attention to him because they know nobody else is beating them. I mean, what are they going to double cover Gunner or?
Yeah, they should. I
mean, they could not cover Gunner and they'll be absolutely fine. Okay, all right.
Hey, Siri said to double cover him. Did you hear that?
Oh
Siri said yes, you should double cover Gunner.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea. Don't do that. So I'm going to go over, hoping that both of them play. I don't think Aguilar will play. If I had to bet money on it, I'd say Aguilar's out and Kendrick Bourne plays, but he might be a little bit limited snap-wise just because he wasn't practicing all week, and that's not great. Either way, that's a factor in my prediction of this game. Is I'm concerned. These guys are going to be out all week. If they do play, they're not going to have practice under their belt, and that's huge in New England, especially after a terrible week like last week. You got to clean a lot of things up, and I think practice this week is very valuable practice time. So I don't know. It's going to be tough. I'm going to go over in faith that hopefully both of them play, but I don't think it's very likely, to be honest.
Yes, give me the over here too. I agree.
Over on Trey Nixon?
Yeah, or give me that one too. That's a good one. Let's go to Stephon Diggs right here. Over under 70.5 receiving yards, only held to 51 last time New England played him in Buffalo. His career against New England, which has only been 3 games now. Well, I guess you could factor in if they played in Minnesota, but his career against New England's 51 yards per 84 yards per game against New England, which obviously last year, the last game of the year, he had a ton against New England, but over under 70.5.
I'm going to go over because he catches one of those deep balls from Allen like last time. He's over it. And it's going to be, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a slugfest at points where each team's going to get their own. And hopefully we contain Stephon Diggs, but he's Stephon Diggs, and we've seen J.C. Jackson make some mistakes against him in the past. I still don't love the matchup. He got burnt by him last year multiple times playing too aggressive. So I'm going to go with over. Hopefully it's not far over. Hopefully it's under by a lot, but I just don't love playing against Stephon Diggs. He's a scary dude to play against. He's very versatile and can do a lot of different things and create separation and elite route running. He's a top 10 receiver, maybe top 7 receiver in the NFL right now. So I don't love it.
Give me the under. I'm going with J.C. Jackson. I'm going with no Cole Beasley, no Emmanuel Sanders, depending on that situation. This is the only guy outside of Dawson Knox that Bill is going to want to take away. So give me J.C. Jackson on him all game, and Stephon Diggs is going to get his, but I think 70 is a little too high with how lights out J.C. Jackson has been playing this year, and I'm going to go with him. So Hunter Henry right here, 2 touchdowns last game, back to his what we saw, in the early parts of the year when he was doing good things in the red zone. But does he get another touchdown this week?
I'm going to go with no. I'm going to say under because that's our whole red zone offense. The Bills absolutely know that. I'd be shocked if they let Hunter Henry score a touchdown on them. I don't know if they'll double. I don't know what they're going to do, but I think if they're a smart football team, they're going to contain Hunter Henry, because if they stop him, they stop our red zone offense basically. And I think they know that. So I'm going to go with under, predicting that the Bills make the Patriots beat them with literally anybody else. So I'm going to go with under.
This is tough. I want to say over because, like you said, he's our only red zone target. And I think that New England knows that they got to, if you get in there on 1st and goal, you got to give him a target at least on your best route. And you got to say, hey, you and Mac Jones have chemistry. I'm going to trust you to go up and get a ball. But I agree with you. I think that, this is their game plan. They're going to say, hey, if you want to throw it to Jacoby Myers, who has 1 touchdown in his career, and you want to throw it to Jonnu Smith, like, go ahead, be my guest. So I'm going to agree with you, the under, although I hope that he gets one because he has been tremendous in the red zone for us.
He's been a monster. Highest graded red zone tight end in the NFL right now.
No surprise right there. Dawson Knox here, 37.5 receiving yards. I don't think he had close to this in
14.
Yeah, 14, and that was on 1 catch, wasn't it? Or was it on 2?
2. I think 2 catches.
Yeah, he 2 catches, 6 targets, 14 yards.
Yep.
Last time New England played.
I'm going to go over it because if the weather wasn't crappy and the ball wasn't moving around, he would have had definitely more than that. He had multiple opportunities. He's a really good tight end, really talented, great weapon in the red zone that they use him for as well. And we'll see who's guarding him, but he had his fair share of chances. AP made a couple tremendous plays, but he had a couple easy drops that he normally would catch in good weather. So I'm going to go over. He's a good player, and he's going to be hard to contain, especially if they're putting a lot of attention on Stephon Diggs. One of them is going to probably have better matchups and be able to have some production, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you over here too. I think this is a little too low for him, especially when you get Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley possibility being out, and J.C. Jackson locking up Stephon Diggs. He's going to be one that Josh Allen's going to want to get the ball to and let him make a play. So, yeah, over 37.5 here for me. And then let's get into our spread. Oh, you have something?
No, I just said I agree.
Oh, and let's get into our spread picks here. Tomorrow night, 49ers at Titans. 49ers are a 3-point favorite. Surprising, right? San Francisco turning it on as of late. Tennessee was the AFC, whole AFC leader a couple weeks ago before New England played them and derailed their season. But anyways, what do you got here?
I got the Titans covering and winning. They're getting Julio Jones. Julio Jones was practicing, even though he had a hamstring injury, so he'll probably be back, and A.J. Brown has a chance to play as well. They get both their big weapons back. 49ers are playing well, but overall, Titans, they're tied with us record-wise. They're probably going to win. That's just how it's been. That's just how it's gone at some point. So I'm going to go with the Titans on this one. I think it's going to be a pretty solid game, but overall, them getting their 2 big weapons back is going to be huge. So I'm going to take them in this one.
All right. I don't know if I have the Niners. I guess I would have them winning if I chose a spread. I thought this was Titans -3 for some reason in my head, but I'm going to go with the Titans covering too. I don't know if I have them winning it, because I think that San Francisco is playing very good ball, and this is in Tennessee.
Come on,
Jimmy
Niners.
Garoppolo could have.
Jimmy G, come on.
We know how inconsistent he's been, outside of New England. So I don't know. I don't know if Tennessee wins this game because, like I said, George Kittle's playing great. Deebo Samuel's, incredible. Brandon Ayuk can turn it on. So I like what San Francisco is doing. And then we all know that from the Super Bowl year they had, their defense is, capable of a lot of things with Nick Bosa up front, Fred Warner, guys like that. So I'm going to go with the Titans covering 2, but I don't know if they win this game.
Okay. I hope not.
I hope not either. All right. Saturday night, another Saturday night game, Christmas Day, Colts at the Cardinals. Come on. Cardinals shocked by the Lions last week. Colts defeated us. We need the Cardinals here just to help, in the wild card race. If we were to lose to Buffalo, that would help us. But
I'm gonna go with the Colts, even though the Cardinals definitely want to bounce back after a embarrassing loss to the Lions. I just think Cardinals late in the year have kind of tailed off, and they're not playing as well as they were at the beginning of the year. I don't know if it's health. I don't know if teams starting to figure them out, how to play them. I don't know what it is, but they're just not playing as well. And the Colts are playing really good football right now. They're probably the hottest team in football. I mean, it just is what it is. Carson Wentz still sucks, but they're playing good football because Jonathan Taylor's a beast. So, watching back some of the stuff of last game, Carson Wentz did absolutely nothing. He had absolutely no factor in them winning that football game at all. Mm-mm. And people giving me crap for the Mac over Carson thing at the beginning of the game. I wouldn't change a thing about it because I still agree. I still think Carson Wentz sucks. So until he proves me wrong, that's what I'm gonna go with. Maybe it's a little too aggressive, but that it is what it is. I got the Colts winning though. Jonathan Taylor backpacking them a little bit further, and I guess upsetting that. That this is the one where Cardinals. It's supposed to be -1. I accidentally did plus. So this one's supposed to be.
Cardinals are favored.
Yes, yeah.
I couldn't even see the plus, so if you wouldn't have said anything, I would never have known.
Yeah, I know, but it just reminded me because I just barely saw it. But yeah, so I got the Colts covering and winning this one.
I've chosen the Cardinals before, and they've helped me and they've killed me. Cardinals not very good against the run. Indianapolis not great against the pass. This is tough. DeAndre Hopkins not playing. That's a huge loss. I mean, AJ Green can't do what he could do in his prime. He's getting up there in age. And then they have a bunch of young receivers. Christian Kirk, Rondell Moore, James Conner's good. But I agree. I don't know how you pick against the Colts, even though you want the Cardinals to bounce back and win this game. But I can't do it. I feel like this would be a dumb pick if I picked the Cardinals. You're playing a hot team right now, and Indy who's rolling, and the Cardinals who haven't looked as good as they did at the start of the year. So I'm going to go with Indianapolis, but I hope it's Arizona, please.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. there. Colts are playing way too well right now. They're rolling. And this one's in Arizona, which is better for them, obviously, but Colts playing a dome, so they're used to playing in good conditions, whatever temperature. So I got the Colts as well.
For sure. All right. 425 games. Steelers at the Chiefs. Chiefs 7.5-point favorites.
I think the Steelers will cover, but I'm not going to pick that. I'm picking the Chiefs because I've picked against the Chiefs. I picked against them like 3-4 weeks in a row, and I was wrong every single time. So I told myself I was going to stop doing that because I keep kicking myself. The next week when we come on the podcast, and when I got the Chiefs one wrong, when I knew I should have picked them. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs and to cover. Even though I honestly think the Steelers should cover this one, especially the Chiefs are up in the air with their COVID issues right now, which stinks. You hate to see it for any team. I don't want any teams to be dealing with this crap because it's not fun, and it affects games, and that's no fun. So I want to see the Steelers win. They play the Titans decent. Steelers I still think stink. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs covering and winning this one.
Well,
we got to be huge Steelers fans this weekend, though. Like Niners, Steelers are the biggest teams we got to root for, and then obviously the Patriots as well. That's the biggest team, but big Steelers, big Niners, big Patriots, obviously fans this weekend.
I still can't believe the Chargers choked that game last week. It still pains me.
Not that surprised.
Not only because I picked the Chargers, but because it would have helped New England. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go with the Steelers. They're not gonna win it, but they're gonna cover it because this really is only a touchdown.
That's not going for. I mean, that's not going for you. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pick the Steelers to cover.
How's that not going for it?
I mean, what? I thought you're a Patriots fan. You're not gonna pick the Steelers to win this one. What kind of confidence do you have?
Well, you didn't even pick them to cover, so nice confidence. I have more confidence than you. So your confidence has been shot because the Chiefs have burnt your record so much.
Oh my god, over and over and over again. I can't do it anymore. They've ruined it. They ruined my record. I do agree with you though. I think the Steelers should cover, but I can't pick it.
Give me the Steelers. I already know I'm going to be like you, but I can't get myself to pick the Chiefs. So I'm too stubborn.
It's a big spread. This one to me is the easiest pick of them all. I don't know how you feel, bud. I'll let you go first. So
Washington, Dallas, 10.5. I'm going to go with Washington. I don't think Dak's playing good enough. I really don't.
And Washington's been keeping games close. I mean,
they have.
I'm gonna agree with you there.
Yeah, I don't think that Dallas, they're 10-3 against the spread, but I don't think they've been playing good enough. I mean, Dak has been up and down in the last 4 games. He's been, very mediocre, and that's not going to be enough to get them to win a Super Bowl like all Cowboys fans think they are at the start of every year. So
Dak had 211 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and they won by 7 a couple weeks ago against Washington.
And they were ahead
by a lot,
comfortably, and then Washington came back. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Washington covering this here. Monday Night Football here, Dolphins, Saints. Come on, Saints. We need this one. Saints are a 3-point favorite at home, though.
We do need this one, and that's why I'm going to pick the Dolphins because, you expect disappointment, can't be disappointed. That's my motto right with this one.
Did you watch the new Spider-Man?
Damn right I did.
That's exactly what they say.
I thought that was great. That's exactly what I've been thinking with some of these games. Did you watch it too?
Yeah, I saw it yesterday.
Nice.
A couple of my buddies.
I saw it on a. I'm going to see it in theaters tomorrow, but I saw it on a website that I absolutely paid for and watched the movie.
Put horrible your credit card in and everything.
Yeah, absolutely paid full price for it. I actually paid extra. It was horrible quality. Somebody recorded it with their phone in a movie theater. The audio was awful, but I wanted to see it, and there were no tickets yet.
How did you sit through that to watch that?
I don't know. It was not good. It kept freezing. It was horrible. I started it and I was like, nope, no chance I can do this. And then I went back. I was like, whatever. I want to watch it. My buddy texted me and said it was really good. It was definitely worth watching. So I was like, I'm gonna watch it, but I shouldn't have because now I'm going to watch it tomorrow in theaters. So it's gonna be a lot better then.
Well, give me the Saints here. They did it. Last prime time against the Buccaneers where they shut them out. Give me the Saints here. Their defense is playing very good, and Taysom Hill is a very hard person to stop, both throwing and running the ball. So give me the Saints covering this and winning it. Come on, get out of here, Dolphins.
Hopefully Kamara has 4 touchdowns because I'm starting him in fantasy in the playoffs this week. So come on, Kamara. We need 4 touchdowns and a win from the Saints this week.
We do.
Any speculation on Ryan Izzo changing his Instagram profile picture to him in a Patriots uniform on his birthday? I mean,
it's his birthday wish.
Exactly, and we might be down 2 receivers. Maybe he's gotten a little more shifty, and maybe he wants to play wide out this week. Maybe, he was worried about Nikhil the animal sitting on the bench this week with an injury, so maybe he's like, hey, I'm an animal too. I'm much more of an animal than Nikhil. I deserve a spot. So that might be his birthday wish. You might be right there,
dude. This is Gabe that said that, right?
Yeah.
That's some fetching dedication to notice he changed it back to it. That's like some weird obsession, man.
How often
does
Gabe have to look at it? Gabe, are you stalking Izzo every day? I know.
Yeah, props
he
to you,
sure
dude.
Is.
That's like crazy dedication to find that and know it's his birthday. And that's crazy dedication.
I'm not surprised he knew it was his birthday. I am surprised he changed. Yeah. He knew he changed it on his birthday. Hey, Gabe's dedicated to his craft. You know what I mean? You got to respect it. He's looking for new meme content every day. So
every day,
you got to respect it. Gabe's doing his thing. He's funny.
That's good. So, well, guys, that's our picks for this week. Patriots, 1 p.m. game. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be nerve-wracking for a lot of Patriots fans, and hopefully we see the Patriots that we saw in their 7-game win streak and not the ones last week, because if you get behind against this Bills team just like you did against the Colts, it's going to be a long day, and it's going to be frustrating. But enjoy your Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Whatever you do, we'll be back after the game late night to go over a Patriots win and an AFC East title secured in the bag. Cha-ching. But you got anything?
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. He reshared his happy birthday wishes on Instagram story. I noticed his profile pic is classic uniform. Bring him home. Bring him home, Gabe says. Yeah, this is going to be a huge game. I mean, like you just mentioned, though, that this Patriots team hasn't secured a win playing from behind except against the Texans, and the Bills are not the Texans. It's kind of as simple as that. So I think
they did lose to the Jaguars and Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer only has one win in his career, and it was against the Bills.
You're not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong. But I can't say it.
We better not lose to a team that lost to Urban Meyer.
That's embarrassing. Well, we're playing the non-Urban Meyer Jaguars next week, so that would be redemption at least. But
yes,
can you imagine we lose to the Bills and then the Jaguars in back-to-back weeks? That's painful. And then Miami. Oh, geez, I can't think about that. Great game this weekend. Gotta try to play from ahead. Obviously, that's how this team plays well. That's how they play. When they can play into their running game and their passing game, it opens up things so much for the play action and all the different stuff for this offense. So defense got to step it up. Hopefully force a couple turnovers. We didn't really talk about turnover margin in the preview, but that's going to be huge. Any turnovers you get, this game is going to be a one-score game for sure. It is going to be a very close game. Any turnover is going to flip it like that. It's kind of like last week. Whoever wins the turnover battle probably wins this game. That's kind of how it's probably going to go. So it's going to be important, going to be tough. Got to take care of the ball security. Don't let those two talented safeties bait you into any interceptions, nothing like that on the Bills defensive side. They got some talent on that side. So going to be a really tough game, going to be a really fun game, most important game of the season. Everybody's obviously going to be watching. A chance to clinch the AFC East. I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought at this point in the year we'd be having an opportunity to clinch the AFC East? It's pretty incredible. So it's going to be a heck of a game. Can't wait. Going to be nerve-wracking as heck. Hopefully we can come on here Sunday night with a big win. Happy mood. Hopefully a lot of you guys can tune in and come join the celebration, because that's what it'll be if we win this game. I can tell you I am going to be very, very happy. Probably the best mood I'll be in all season so far if we win this football game. So big one. Really, really big one.
For sure. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Enjoy your Christmas with your families, and then enjoy the Patriots game, and then hop on with us and we'll discuss it in depth, and the good, bad, and the injured, everything we usually do on post-game shows. But that's it for me. Enjoy the holidays. Cole, anything?
No, just same thing. Yeah, enjoy the holidays. Enjoy spending time with your family. Whatever you guys celebrate, just enjoy the time and have a great weekend. Go Pats. Going to be a heck of a game. But thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Yeah, come back Sunday night for the post-game show. Hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully we can have a little celebration here and be celebrating an AFC East title. That'd be pretty great. So that's it for tonight. So we will see you guys Sunday night. Go Pats.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Patriots Drive podcast. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with all things New England Patriots. Make sure you tune in to the next episode and check out patriotsdrive.com for more great content.
We're on to Cincinnati.